Alright, how are you guys doing? It's Mango Consumer back again with another video. Um, this time I'm going to be doing a tier list ranking of Trails in the Sky Trilogy characters. Now, you may notice, uh, there's a lot of characters, and I just noticed one character in particular that kind of cracks me up. But yeah, like I said, there's 83 characters here. I counted, trust me. Um, so yeah, please forgive me if I don't necessarily remember everyone's name. Like the people who are like, very like prominent in the store, of course I remember. But like orphanage kid number like 5, I'm not gonna be like, oh, that's her. Oh my, she is so peak. Oh, I remember. Like no, we're not gonna do that. But okay. Um, let's go ahead and just get started, and then we start off strong with a tier list with arguably one of the best characters in the series, in my opinion. In the trilogy, at the very least. I've only played through the Sky trilogy. I will play through basically the entire series at some point in the future, hopefully. But yeah, Kevin. For characters that I won't talk about a lot in depth. I'll also talk about them. But yeah, for Kevin Graham, great character. Just when it was introduced in the second game, I was like, okay, all right, yeah, I know what kind of man you are. I'm familiar with your game. Like, he is just such a interesting character. Just with everything about him, like the way he I mean, he got his own game. Like, that should basically tell you everything, right? Like after the second game, uh, they're like, what are we gonna do with this guy? It's a trilogy, right? We're gonna do a trilogy. What are we gonna do for the third game? And they're like, fuck it, we're gonna make a game about this guy, his trauma, him learning that he doesn't have to punish himself for his sins, and just realizing that he's allowed to get help. He's allowed to get help from people. He doesn't have to use people in his life. He can just get help. So, but genuinely, in all seriousness, he's a great character. Really loved his whole backstory. Well, no, I didn't love it, but I thought it was interesting. It was very poignant, very sad, obviously. And yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Kevin. Great character. Very deserving of having his own game. The ambassador from Erebonian. God damn it, what was his name? Okay, for some of these characters, I'm just gonna look up. Krayna, that's his name. Krayna. It was on the tip of my tongue. I would say he's like a B. He's fine, not terrible. Actually, no, more like a C. I'm gonna treat C like above. How should I put this? Like it's like average, but it's not like mid. Like I'd say D. It's like you're a passable character. You're like whatever, right? Like you're decent. C is like you actually have sustenance to your character, but you're not great. And then B is like we'll go from there. But yeah, he's actually a pretty cool dude. Like when I first met him in SC, I thought he was just gonna be like this like hard ass. And his interaction with Cochrane, this girl right here, this woman, the ambassador from Calvert. I thought that he was just gonna be like a very hard-nosed kind of guy, and he kind of is. But like, you can see like he has like a lot of depth. Like he has some depth to him. He's also, if you like see like his story with like Olivier and Mueller and stuff like that, you can see that he's like actually like very how would you put it? Very not down to earth, but like grateful to Olivier. He like like as soon as he recognizes Olivier as being Prince Oliver, he's like, oh god, oh my goodness, I can't believe I've been such a dick to you this whole time. And I think he's a pretty interesting character. I definitely didn't expect him to be as like apologetic as he was, but it kind of goes to show you like the respect he has for like nobility and stuff like that, or I guess royalty. And he seems to have like a genuine interest in building like good relations with like liberal. So yeah, pretty cool character. And then Cochrane, honestly, kind of the same sort of vein. Like she's very similar. not very similar, but and like she obviously acts in like a basically the same function. Um, Her story with like Kilika and Zin. I'm basing this mostly off like memory doors. But her memory door with not her memory door, the memory door she appears in. That's Zin's memory door, where she invites Kilika to become part of like a new organization in the Calvary Republic. I thought she was pretty cool. But yeah, not much really else to say about her. So we'll go ahead, move to Rias. Rias? I'm gonna put her in S. I think she's a really good character. The way she sort of is like very standoffish towards Kevin in the beginning of the game is pretty interesting. Which I mean, it makes sense. Like he hasn't talked to her in like 5 years, and you know they kind of grew up together in a way. Like after Rufina took in Kevin, and so like she kind of like developed that bond with him. And so I mean, yeah, if you don't talk to someone for 5 years, seemingly for like no real reason, I guess you could, I'd say it's pretty deserving for her to be kind of miffed at him. But yeah, seeing her sort of evolve and like seeing her just kind of like allow herself to become more and more sort of like not intimate, but like, oh yeah, intimate in a way, but like more sort of just allowing herself to like love him, you know, like, you know, she cares for him very deeply, and like she has to like kind of like let go of like whatever pretenses she might have had to like sort of allow herself to be available for him in his hour of need. And so I thought that was very interesting, and by the end, you know, it's very clear that they're just so close. And you know, you can make whatever of the relationship. I don't know what their relationship is like in the future games. I've been told that, you know, he appears in future games. I don't know about Rias. Hopefully she appears in future games because she's pretty cool. But yeah, I think she's definitely worthy of the S tier. Oh brother, here we go. I'm gonna put you in E. You're not F. You're not horrible, but you're kind of annoying. You're kind of annoying because there's only like one moment in like Tita's sun door. Yeah, she has a sun door. I just realized Tita has a sun door. Oh well, yeah, that's whatever. I mean, not like she deserves it. Not like she doesn't deserve it, but you know, I just think that's interesting. Yeah, apart from like her little like speech or her little like dialogue with Tita in her memory door, she is just so unpleasant and in my opinion kind of unlikable. I don't know if I have like a sort of like skewed perspective, but like her just being like kind of a dick to everybody and like just like dismissive of everything that's like not her research and Tita. I don't know. And then like the way her like, okay, I understand not liking Agate because like Tita being involved with Agate can seem pretty weird, and then also there's the added factor of like the fact that like, you know, Tita is in constant danger and Agate just kind of happens to be there. So I kind of get her. I'm not dismissing her rage towards Agate as like illegitimate. You know, I'm trying to understand her perspective, but yeah, no, just kind of generally unlikable. Again, not F. She's not horrible. I don't think she's like a terrible character, but there's enough of her in my opinion where I'm just like, okay, that's enough. Like, I thought that towards the beginning of the game, she was so prevalent in the the prologue that I was like, oh, okay, so she's gonna be like one of the like sort of like recurring characters in this game. And yeah, no, after the prologue, she just kind of dropped off the face of the earth. And honestly, she's kind of better for it. The game's better for it. I don't really like her that much. I don't know. Maybe in future games, if she appears, maybe she's better. But she's just kind of, abrasive. She's very abrasive. That's how I'll put it. She's very abrasive. That's how to describe like another character in this tier list. But yeah, that's all I say about her. Her husband, Mr. Dan. I would say he's like a D. He's not like I don't know. He's fine, right? Like he's not bad. He's not unlikable. I would say D is like you're like whatever, like I said before, but like E is when you start to like kind of like get on like my bad side. um, yeah, I would say Dan is very inoffensive. He's like a good dad, right? Like, he like or like not that like not that Erica's a bad mom, but like he's like very like he's basically just like good cop, bad cop. Like he's just like a very like chill guy. Like he's not too sort of like hyperactive or whatever. He just is like, oh yeah, you need me to help you build something? Yeah, sure, okay, I'll help you. And then like Tita is like, hey, I'll make you some breakfast. So yeah, Dan, pretty cool guy. But I wouldn't say he's like something special. He's like a D character. Mr. Gilead Osborne. In the few moments that we get with him in Olivier and Mueller's door, we get to see probably just a mastermind at work. Like, I imagine that he's plays like a bigger role in like future games, because he's like, you know, the Chancellor of Aragonia. But he, in the moments that we get him, you just see how cool he is. How like he's so diplomatic, but like with that undertone of sort of like, it's like seeing the it's like seeing the rise of like an antagonist almost. Like you can sense that like yes, he has like maybe how should I put it, like he has like maybe like properly aligned goals, but he's kind of just trampling over other people and other countries to like sort of get there. At least that's what I understood from his like sort of from like how to describe him as like Olivier, like where is he? Yeah, this guy right here. Is there a different portrait for Oliver? Because Oliver, the one that shows up at the end of this. Anyways, whatever. Yeah. He insinuates that he does like a bunch of shady stuff, like setting up like wars and like unstable countries, and then coming in to like just like sort of do some cleanup, and then like, oh, we restored stability to this country, so yeah, you should owe your thanks to us, and just some other stuff. But you can just see he's just so cunning and diplomatic, and like just like you can tell that he's just not someone to be trifled with, and I don't know, I think he's pretty cool. Celeste. Celeste. I'm thinking somewhere in like the B or C range. She's pretty cool, right? They first mentioned. I'll put her in B. I think she's above like C because she's more involved in the actual story, and so yeah, I think she deserves to be there. Yeah, she's pretty cool, right? Like, she is the master of the Hermit Garden. She basically is like the leader of the sort of effort to like quell the Oriole, and also made a copy of herself to like manage Phantasma so that the Oriole doesn't have like an easy way to like sort of like manipulate everything. Like it just kind of shows like how far ahead she thought. Like you can tell, like she was like a very capable person when she was alive. So yeah, I thought she was really cool. And yeah, I mean, she helps you out a lot during the game, and then you find out that that's Celeste. I'm gonna be honest. This is a little anecdote. I thought that the master of the Hermit Garden was Rufina. That's who I thought was helping us. But it turns out that I was very wrong. So when she was revealed to be the master of the Hermit Garden, the person who's been helping us, I was like, oh. But yeah, pretty cool character. I'd say she's B-worthy. Not like amazing, but yeah, definitely pretty cool. I'm sorry, these orphanage kids. I'm sorry, you're getting put in the same tier as Dan. So these guys, the Ravens, I want to say that's Rocco. Shit. I don't remember the rest of their names. Damn it. I did their memory door. Like, they have a memory door where, like, they become bracers. but I would say that these guys are all like C tier, right? Like they're pretty decent. Like it's interesting to me how like in the first game they're like kind of like nobodies, just kind of like side characters, and they still are obviously. But in the second and third games, like they actually get their own portraits, and they're like, oh yeah, yeah, we want to become bracers, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, this hooliganism isn't for us really. And so I'm like, oh okay, that's cool. So they have like their own sort of character arcs, but I wouldn't say like they're above like Osborne or like Celeste. So I'll put them there. Whew, this guy, Lecter. Oh my goodness. I feel like I gotta put him at B. I almost wanna put him here. He reminds me so much of a character from Maid-sama. Like literally design wise and like his just aloofness. You probably if you've watched Maid-sama, you probably know exactly who I'm talking about. His name is Takumi. He's one of the main characters in that anime. And he's just so cool, so aloof, too cool for school. And he has the thing for this girl who's like, a very high-ranking society and stuff like that. Well, I don't know if he has a thing for Chloe. It's not really clear. Like he kind of, I don't know. That's not the important part. Anyways, in the memory door with Chloe, you see that he's like, just like this slacker who like hates doing work, constantly running away, but somehow manages to evade like everybody. Like I'm pretty sure the only times he got caught was because he allowed himself to be caught. If he really wanted to, he probably could have just kept on avoiding them forever and ever and ever. He allowed himself to get caught by Chloe, probably, I imagine. And then later on, in Olivier's and Mueller's door, it's revealed that he's actually an aide to Osborne. Not only an aide to Osborne, he's also a part of like the intelligence division, which just goes to show you that he's just not some ordinary guy, right? It just shows you, oh wow, okay, interesting. It just kind of makes you think like, oh okay, because like during Chloe's door, like her memory door, you're like, oh wait, okay, this guy is kind of just like a bum. Like, yeah, he's like got he's got this cool demeanor, too cool for school, like I said, definitely sort of, ladies man, but like, he's kind of a bum. Like, apart from running away from people and giving like vague advice to Chloe, he's just kind of like a, I don't know, just like a potato. Like, not really doing much, but you can see like, oh okay, all right, he's a very capable person. All right, I see now. Oh, you're fine. You're not bad. You're not like a bad character, but like I have nothing to really say about you. I don't really remember your name. I don't remember your name either, honestly. So it honestly doesn't feel right for me to say like. Yeah, no, honestly, she's also kind of, I don't know. She's kind of a D tier character, if I'm being honest. Like, yeah, she has a thing for, like, I don't really remember her name. And she's, like, a small part of, like, a memory door, which is, like, not even, like, a main story thing. So it's, like, okay, whatever. Like, she's just, like, a student council member that was, like, had a thing for Lecter, was like constantly on this case, and just yeah. Ein Selny, I think that's her name. I believe that's her name. I'm leaning towards B. I think she was pretty cool. She's a commander, so obviously she's very high ranking. I believe she trained both Rufina and Kevin, if I remember correctly. I know for a fact she trained Kevin. I don't remember if she trained Rufina. I think she did though. Very cool character. She doesn't necessarily like motivate Kevin, but she does sort of like guide him along. She kind of like pushes him. She pushes him in like sort of the right direction, I guess you could say. After he obviously I should probably put like spoilers in the title of the video, but there obviously be like heavy spoilers for this. But after he kills Rufina, obviously accidentally, without meaning, he didn't want to. Um, she sort of like pushes him in like the right direction, like, hey, we're gonna make you a Dominion, you know. No one's ever refused to be a Dominion, and so like Kevin's just like, oh yeah, I'll just use this opportunity to, sort of punish myself for the sin I've committed. And Ayn just kind of like none the wiser. Actually, I wonder if she knew that if Kevin, she probably knew that Kevin killed her, but she just like was like, yeah, it's not your fault. But yeah, but she's pretty cool. She seems very like capable. Actually, now that I think about it, I think maybe C tier, honestly. I don't know. She just doesn't appear that much for me. Like, she's cool and all, but like, but also, is she really in the same tier as like these guys? Rocco and the gang. I don't know. She's like between B and C for me. Yeah, I'd say that's about right. Yeah, these are two side characters from a minigame, the Gambler Jack minigame. Pretty cool personalities, not, they seem pretty decent, like, character-wise, but, like, honestly, they're kind of nothing. Like, they're just literally side characters from, like, a minigame, so it's like, I can't really put you any higher than, like, D, in my opinion. Maybe C, but that would really be pushing it. One Miss Estelle Bright. You have got to be S+. I mean, I could just sit here for not hours, but like, well, talking about Trails in the Sky, I could probably talk about for hours, but like, Estelle, I could probably talk about for like an hour. She's just such a great character. Like, like, her whole ordeal during the first game, obviously, trying to like sort of, figure out what happened with, Cassius and all that. Turns out Cassius was just like single-handedly dealing with a crisis in Erebonia. No big deal. But Estelle kind of just like none the wiser, just kind of wondering where he is, and just sort of like trying to like deal with that, and then also becoming, sort of going on her journey to become a senior bracer, going to all the regions in Liberal. I was about to say Roland. Going to all the regions in Liberal, and then at the very end, after going down that big journey with Joshua, just to lose him because he feels so guilty because of his ties to Ouroboros and all the things that he did. It feels like he's been living a lie, just sort of deceiving people, and then her saying, nah, screw that. I don't care if you remember Ouroboros. I don't care about what you did in the past. You're my you're my boyfriend. Yeah, I love you. So she just goes on this big journey to find Joshua, and then funnily enough, Joshua finds her on board the oh my god, no! I literally just played these games. What is it called? Oh my god, the Glorious. There we go, the Glorious. Finding her aboard the Glorious, them teaming up again, and then after that whole ordeal, them just kind of promising to each other that they'll never really leave each other's sides. Man, it's just beautiful. And then in the third game, she always has like less of a role, but still really active. She's still active, especially after you get her. So yeah, big fan of Estelle, great character. And you can't talk about Estelle without talking about Joshua. For me, probably in my top three, definitely the top two characters so far. What can I really say? Like, just from the get-go, I knew that he wasn't like normal, right? Obviously he's not normal because like in the first like real scene of the game, Cassius sort of like brings him in, and they tend to him, and then they obviously flash forward to the present, where Estelle and Joshua become bracers and stuff like that. Obviously, like the whole spiel with Estelle and Joshua going on a journey in the first game, and then at the very end, once you think that like nothing can really go wrong, Weissman just coming up to Joshua and reminding him of all the horrible things he's done, about the fact that like he's been secretly reporting to him and all that stuff. And then the guilt he feels, like the unworthiness that he feels, that he doesn't deserve good things, kind of like Evan, like a certain character right here. And so he leaves on this journey and sort of punishes himself and seeks to atone for it by taking down Ouroboros, you know? And yeah, it's that whole arc with him seeking to atone and then coming to the realization that he's allowed to be loved again, like another character. You know, the similarities, it's just very apparent when you like sort of compare them side by side. Yeah, great character, really love Joshua, and then seeing how much more confident he is, and just not being sort of clouded by, you know, his stigma, obviously, but also like just this doubt and like sort of unworthiness. It's just great. Scarizard obviously, in my opinion, has a much bigger role in the first game than in the second and third games, but she's still pretty cool nonetheless. I love her relationship with Estelle. Like, she's not kidding when she says that she's like sort of like a big sister for her. How long is this recording so far? Oh my god, I'm nowhere near halfway. I'm not even halfway through. I'm like almost approaching 30 minutes. God damn. But yeah, I really enjoyed Scarizard as a character. Her I want to say it's a star door. I might be wrong. It might have been a sun door. But her memory door, where she meets Aina and sort of protects her from, you know, the Jaegers that are after her. That was pretty cool. It was like a really neat insight to like her sort of psyche, her mentality, why she is the way she is, like, you know, her whole ordeal like after like the circus disbanded because of Mr. Harvey's death, and her just kind of like having to fend for herself. Yeah. Oh, was that before or after? That might have been before. I might be getting the chronology wrong. Yeah, someone will correct me probably. I think it was after, but regardless, yeah, her sort of like deciding that she is going to like sort of only try and fend for herself, you know, realizing how cruel the world can really be, and you know, her sort of growing, you know, becoming a bracer and all that, and then her like accompanying Estelle through her journey was really cool as well. I love her relationship with Olivier. I think it's one of the best sort of like it's one of the best dynamics in the game, you know, honestly. So yeah, I'd say she's fairly deserving of an A. Okay, so for this next guy, we're gonna have to go ahead and have to make a whole new tier. Yep, gonna have to change the color. Let's see, what the color hasn't been used yet. I think this one hasn't been used yet. Whatever, yeah. Olivier. Yep. You have to go ahead and put him right up there. No, in all seriousness, Olivier, another character who is sort of presented as like kind of a goofball, but you kind of can tell that he's like very capable, and you know, there's much more to him than the eye can see. And then you find out in the second game that he's not just some bozo. Like, I thought he was like some kind of spy from Erebonian, that he was like sort of just kind of monitoring Estelle and Joshua for some reason. Like, he was sent there specifically to like, I don't know, I guess to like watch over like the children of Cassius, right? Because like Cassius was like obviously like the leader, or like the guy who like really cemented the liberals' victory in the war, the 100 Days War. And so I thought, oh, maybe he's a spy sent from Erebonian to like sort of like check up on them, and he might end up being a traitor. And then in that dialogue, he said that like, he was like, soon I'll have to become your enemy, or like the next time you see me I'll be your enemy. I was like, no, don't let Olivier be a bad guy. But no, actually he turned out to be even cooler, because he helped Chloe sort of like make the Erebonian army sort of like back down and let Liberal do its thing. So yeah, Olivier, I'm giving his own tier for like more like the memes, but honestly, he probably deserves to be like an S. Honestly, if I'm keeping it real, if I'm like keeping it like serious, like yeah, no. For me, he's definitely an S tier character. Very cool. Chloe. Where do I want to put you? At least A, I would say for sure. But her overall involvement and everything she does throughout the course of the games, I want to say, the way she's just kind of like ever present, and like her ascension to becoming like the crown princess and stuff like that, her sort of self doubt. She's like she feels like kind of like a fraud. Like, oh man, you know, my grandma, she's so capable, she's so smart. How am I ever going to become a queen worthy of surpassing, or taking up her throne, or whatever, right? But she's so clearly so capable. She's so smart, right? Like, it's sort of interesting to see that sort of like dynamic within her, where like she has all of this self doubt, and like yet everyone can appreciate how capable she is. It's a great sort of like representation of people that like sort of just feel unworthy of like their praise and like and of their like stature and stuff like that. And so I think she's a great character. Very cool. Also a great healer. I haven't really brought in like their actual like in-game abilities like in combat and stuff like that much. If we were ranking them, honestly, she'd probably be S plus because like she's such a good healer, such a good magic user. But yeah, very cool. Love like Chloe a lot. Agate, I would say A. Great character. I love sort of like how standoffish she is. Again, sort of like not like Rias, but like he's a little more abrasive. Like he's like constantly talking down on Estelle at the beginning of like the first game, and then slowly surely he sort of recognizes how great she is, and like sort of recognizes her abilities, and he just sort of like becomes kind of just chills out more, like I really enjoyed his like his backs. Not I have to I have to come up with like a better word for enjoy, but like I found his backstory really interesting. Him and Misha, how they sort of like grew up together, um, and then like the whole thing of like the 100 Days War, how he lost her sister because she went to go back and get like accessory for him, and like the fact that like he still thinks about her to this day, and like his relationship with Tita, which I'm gonna say it here in this video. I really don't like how some of the other characters talk about their relationship, but regardless, I think it's very cute. The whole like I think of it as a brother sister dynamic. Like I think of like I think Agate kind of sees Tita as his little sister, because like I remember there's that scene where he's like half asleep and he thought of like I think it was in the Zysumper factory after he got like poisoned, I think it was. He like looks at Tita, I think, or like he's like half awake and he's like Misha or something like that. I might be misremembering that, but I think he definitely sees her as like a little sister in that kind of way, and I think that's really cool. You can also see how much Tita, actually you don't, as long as we're talking about Tita, I'll put her at A, right next to Agate, as some of these characters would just love that. Tita is great. Again, I genuinely do enjoy her dynamic with Agate. Her sort of just learning to sort of care for him, even though Agate is kind of a dick towards her, honestly. But Agate also does give her some good advice about how she needs to be able to carry her own weight if she wants to be getting involved in all these dangerous missions and stuff like that. And her like sort of steeling herself for that, and sort of just that just sort of provides a sort of launch pad for her to grow even more and become even more capable. So yeah, they feed off of each other's energy really well, and I think they have a great dynamic as well. So yeah, Zin. It would feel wrong to put him anywhere below A. Just pretty cool character. His backstory with Kilika, Walter, and their master and all that. I thought was pretty cool. But Zin's he's just a cool guy. I don't want to say he's a himbo because he's like he's genuinely like a smart character, but he does have some himbo tendencies or like himbo qualities in my opinion. Uh, he just kind of reminds me of like you just look at him, he's like, oh okay, that's just like a big oaf. But no, he actually has like more like complexity to that. He's pretty wise. He doesn't just kind of like just rush into the things without thinking about them. And he's just super strong. This guy's a monster. Like yeah, so pretty cool character. Oh my gosh, where do I put you? I feel like I have to put you in S. At least S. Cassius Bright. This guy is a beast. He's just so cool. He oozes just capability. He's like, you look at that and you're like, oh yeah, that's a guy who can carry himself. Just everything you hear about Cass is just like, oh yeah, he defeated like a elder dragon with like a toothbrush or some shit like that. Like he's just him. Like, to use modern terminology, Cassius Bright is just really him. He's that guy. And so, I mean, but going into like more specifics, like him bringing in Joshua and like sort of like giving Estelle that like sibling, but then also him revealing to Estelle that he always knew that he was like a member of Ouroboros, I believe, and he was like, he knew that someday Joshua would leave, and not telling her, that adds like a sort of like layer to his character where it's like he obviously like didn't want to hurt Estelle, but in the process he caused her so much grief with Joshua leaving. And obviously he had good intentions, I think, but like in the end he ended up causing so much pain for Estelle that it ultimately like drove her to like sort of find Joshua. But apart from that, great character. Such an awful character to try and fight. Like every single time that you fight him, like there's 2 instances off the top of my head where you fight him. And once is during like the 6th plane, I believe it is, and then you can also fight him in like one of the the sun doors. Oh wait, no, the moon doors are the long form swords. My bad. Yeah, one of the sun doors, you can fight him in Lua, but we'll get to it eventually. But he's such a pain to fight. He's like, oh my god. But yeah, no, great character. That's all I'll say about him. Queen Alicia, pretty cool. Like you can see like why Chloe looks up to her so much. She's very wise, very diplomatic. She tries her best to like sort of like avoid any real conflict by any means, right? She puts the safety and sort of well-being of her country above everything else, which is part of the reason why she doesn't like pursue like the whole like Hamel thing. She's like, okay, it's either like we make a big deal of the Hamel thing and provoke Erebonia, or we just kind of drop it and sort of ensure the safety of our country and stuff like that. Which you can argue it's like, oh well, by sort of dropping the Hamel thing, you never really bring justice. But in her eyes, it's like, I need to protect my country. I'm not about to get into like a bigger war with Erebonia, and it just kind of reveals a lot about her character. And overall she's just very like sympathetic and very like kind. So yeah, great character. Now, the cooler Professor Russell, I'd say he's also about an A, right? Like, I'd say he's above like these three right here. B, for me personally, B more like for like, I'll just go ahead and put some characters in B just to sort of fill them out. Niall's pretty cool, but I wouldn't put him above like any of these characters, right? Like, I'd say this is about right. This is more for like characters that are cool, but they just don't get to like the A rank, in my opinion. And same sort of goes for Dorothy. Like, they're obviously very heavily involved in the first game. Like, they're almost like following Estelle and Joshua throughout their sort of journey. And they're still sort of involved in the second and third games. Much less in the third game, but yeah, they're pretty cool characters. Niall being this bloodhound for a good story, and then Dorothy being like sort of a ditz, but somehow becoming unconscious when it comes to photography. But wow, and I kind of skipped over Russell. Pretty cool guy. You can see that he's very smart, very sort of like just sort of like looking ahead. He's just so instrumental like throughout the series. Like basically without him, it would really be over. Like it would be really bad. Like he is so important. Like the whole thing with like the RSA, like building that huge like generator, like the device that like repels like the Oreo or whatever it was. Like he was just so instrumental throughout the whole sort of trilogy, and so yeah, I think it's right for him to be in A. This guy right here, I think he deserves to be S. Richard is such an interesting case because like usually when characters do like really bad things, like carry out like coups and stuff like that, I sort of like err on the side of like, okay, well, you're kind of just like not a great guy. But you can tell that Richard he's just like, it's really impossible for me, it's very difficult for me to like dislike him because he has such well set motivations, right? Like his motivations are so well fleshed out. Like everything that he has done has been in the interest of like protecting his country, but he was very misguided, right? And so that's what led him to make, carrying out the coup. But after he's thwarted and all that, he sort of just like lives in this mentality that he needs to sort of like repent, and sort of just like he's not worthy of being in the military, and also believing that if he's in a position of authority, that he might succumb to some temptations to sort of act beyond his means and sort of doing something that might be of greater harm than good. And so I think he has a great character, honestly, and I think he's well deserving of being in S tier. Oh my gosh, that's another S tier character right there. He's like, I'm not gonna lie, like when he's like first revealed as like Lawrence, right, like Lieutenant Lawrence or whatever his name is, Sergeant Lawrence, whatever. Immediately like, okay, yeah, that's obviously not just like a normal guy. But to think that like this whole time that we knew him, like the first time Agate fought him, right? Like to think that he was fighting like this guy right here, the lion-hearted, what's his full title? The lion-hearted blade, is that what it is? Oh, I forgot his full title. But yeah, no, Lewis just so cool. Like his whole story, like the tragedy of Hamel, him sort of just he acts like as sort of like a big brother for like Joshua and Ren, and like he sort of like guides them a little bit, like while they're still part of Ouroboros. Yeah, no, just great character. Weissman, in terms of being like an actual character, I'd have to say A. He's just so evil. Like he has such like well fleshed out like intentions again. Like his desire to like sort of like create a superhuman, and like him basically using any means possible. Like him, like the thing that really sealed the deal for me is him being like one of the most evil characters that I've like seen recently, at least, is him saying that like he is gonna like during at the end of the second game, he like sorry, I lost my train of thought. He was gonna make him kill Estelle, and then sort of give him a new stigma, or like reset his stigma or whatever, and then make him go through the process all over again, and just sort of treating Joshua as like a science experiment. It just really solidified for me, like, wow, this guy is just a piece of shit. But sorry, I had to drink some water. He is a well-written piece of shit. Like, yeah. As far as antagonists go, he is one of the more formidable ones that I think I've encountered like over like the past few years. So yeah, Mr. General Morgan. I think I have to go A again. Like, I don't think I can put him with like Dorothy. Like, his sort of disdain for bracers and like the whole bracer guild in the first game. It's kind of like what the hell, man? Like, why are you treating us like we're like, like just losers? But him sort of learning to appreciate again Estelle's abilities as a bracer and realizing, hey, bracers are pretty good. Like, this country runs a whole lot better when bracers and the army sort of like coexist and are there for each other. Yeah, pretty cool sort of character development for him. And then also, again, when you fight him, you realize, oh, there's a reason this guy's the general of the army. Yeah, pretty cool character. Mrs. Julia Schwartz. I have to put her in A as well. I feel like it feels wrong for her to not be A. So yeah, that's why I'm gonna put her there. But her relationship with Chloe, her desire to like just constantly protect her, and her like devotion to the royal family is really admirable in my opinion. But she's also very capable, obviously, right? And she kind of has like similar issues with Chloe, where she feels like she's very like unworthy. She doesn't feel like she like. I remember during her memory door, she's like gets offered like a promotion, vacation time, like all these different things, and so she's like, oh no, I don't deserve all of this. No. But you can tell that she's obviously very capable and that she does really deserve all these things that are going for her. So yeah, I'd say, yeah, I think she's worthy of A. Amalthea. I think she has to be at least B in my opinion, just because of like how involved she is in the story, and just like she does get better in a certain sense. Like she, like obviously she has. I'm just gonna call it as it is. She's a Richard simp. she's a Richard simp. Like she like I don't know if like necessarily romantically, but she's definitely like at his beck and call, and just like is fully devoted to him. Like she calls him your excellency. Like that's like that goes beyond, in my opinion, just treating him as like as a boss or whatever. But no, yeah, I mean, she's an interesting case. Like, her desire to like carry out Richard's will. I don't know why I say that as if Richard fucking died, but her desire to sort of like carry out Richard's will after Richard is like sort of like in prison and stuff like that. It's kind of noble in a way, and even though she is like very, very abrasive, like almost venomous towards anyone that's not Richard, I sort of do admire her devotion and like her sort of like yeah, I think devotion really is just the best word. Like her like willingness to just kind of do whatever it takes to carry out his will. And then I mean, she does get better. Like in her in the memory door with Richard, you get to kind of see that she does like sort of change and grow as a person. So good for her. Mr. Don Capua. I don't know where to put him. I'm leaning somewhere between like C and B. I'm gonna say maybe. Oh man, it's wrong to do C, but like honestly, him and Kyle there, and then Josette, I would say she's an A. Actually, ooh. I don't know. Josette is definitely at least a B, and then Dawn and Kyle are at least C. but it feels wrong for them to be like in the same tier as like these guys because they're much more involved and they do have their moments in the story. Like that's the thing about this trilogy is that there's so many like genuinely good characters. Like everyone B and above, I would personally consider like a good character, like a character that is worthy of recognition, and like I will probably remember these guys, right? Like I don't remember like these guys' names, like I just dislike Erica. um, but all of these guys, I know their names off the top of my head. It's because they've had like some kind of impact on me. Like they were memorable in some respect. Actually, hold on. Is Weissman? Okay, I'm just thinking because I was like, okay, hold on. Is Weissman different from Professor Alba? Because I just remembered that that's technically Professor Alba, not Weissman. Even though they're the same person. Like that, they're like different characters, you know. Which, yeah. But okay, but yeah, going back to Josette. Actually, I guess I'll start with Dawn and Kyle. They're pretty cool, right? I would say that they're pretty interesting characters. They obviously help out, you know, Joshua a lot. Um, the three of them are obviously like this, I guess, kind of disgraced nobility. Dawn, I guess, like screwed up on a deal and like they lost their entire house. Or was it that they lost their house in a fire? No, it's because of Dawn. I think, I'm pretty sure. And like I think he kind of got ahead of himself and he kind of regrets it and all that. But they have a good character arc. Like I'm just gonna kind of treat them as like a trio. Um, or like they both are like all three of them are sort of kind of going through a tough time, but like at the end they sort of like grow and like they make use of the opportunity that's given to them by Queen Alicia. And then Josette, her sort of rivalry with with Estelle, and then her admiration for Joshua, kind of, you know, that kind of connection, in my opinion, is kind of the kind of thing that usually like pushes people up, in my opinion. Um, and you know, she's actually like a pretty well fleshed out character. Uh, she's also kind of abrasive, in my opinion. Uh, she is kind of rude to everyone that's not Joshua, which I'm kind of realizing is kind of like a kind of a trope for some of these some characters. But yeah, and her constant like sort of like spiel or like, hey Joshua, if it doesn't work out with Estelle, you know where to find me. Wink, wink. Like that whole sort of deal is pretty funny, but like overall, I would say that yeah, A is about right for her. I'd say she's above like these characters. Duke Dunan. I would say that's a B tier character right there. He's very, very annoying in the first game. Second game, you can kind of see like where he sort of like starts to kind of change and grow for the better. And then in the third game, during Chloe and Joshua's story, it is, you can see he's actually kind of grown a lot. Like he's much more like sort of not diplomatic, but like he's more befitting of like being a royal and stuff like that. He's more cordial. He recognizes the efforts of all of the heroes and stuff like that, all of the people who got in like the Libra arc. And so yeah, he changes and grows, and like even during the second game actually, I just remembered like he's kind of valiant actually. He's very he kind of like just kind of goes up to the he kind of like confronts the members of Ouroboros, and he doesn't really he doesn't immediately just, you know, just run away with his like tail between his legs, which is very commendable. It's a very stark difference between him in that game and the first game. So yeah, pretty cool character arc. Blue Blanc. I would put Blue Blanc in like B tier. I wouldn't necessarily put him at A. He's a pretty interesting case because like he has like the whole sort of Phantom Thief sort of thing going for him, and also like what, what's his true identity and all this stuff like that. Like it's like a big deal, and like one of the memory doors, like they make a whole big deal about like what his like real identity is, and apparently like there's like three possible identities that they know for a fact are maybe true, but they don't know which one it is. Um, he's just very like he's like mysterious and like also kind of funny, right? Like he's a pretty funny guy. We can say it. Um, he's like, obviously Olivier's rival. They're like both like kind of elegant, or at least try to be elegant. um, Definitely in Olivier's case more tries because he kind of just falls flat on his face. But anyways, Blue Blanc, very interesting case with him. I personally enjoy his character. His sort of obsession with Chloe is kind of interesting. But yeah. Lucy, I'm leaning towards somewhere between C and B. I'll put her B just because like she is a member of Ouroboros, and she does have the connection with Scarazard, which I think does put her a little bit above the edge. And so also it's like this sort of plot twist where it's revealed that obviously we know that Mr. Harvey died, but she actually reveals that she was the one that killed him, and she did it with I think she said she did it like with like a smile on her face or something like that. And the reason why that's interesting to me is because it sort of like dispels this sort of like notion in Scarazard's mind about Lucy, and like the way that she like really looked up to him and sort of all of that, I think that sort of dynamic between them really serves to push Lucy up, in my opinion. And Walter, I would say his connection with Kilika and Zin also sort of pushes up to like sort of the B rank. He kind of just lives for himself. Like, there's not a lot of those characters, in my opinion, in these games. From what I've seen, like in the sense that like he lives for himself, and he just kind of wants to get stronger, right? Like he just wants to like fight strong people. He wants to like kills anybody that gets in his way, but he obviously like he knows that what he's doing is like not like morally correct, but he does it anyways because it's what he wants to do, because he's strong, right? Like he thinks that because he's strong he can do what he wants, and so he doesn't really abide by like rules and stuff like that. And I never actually really found out what the deal was. Like I know that it's like the sort of trope between master and student, like those like dojos and stuff like that where like he fights the master and stuff like that. I don't remember exactly what it was for. I think it was just because the master didn't agree with like how Walter was living his life or whatever, or like his intentions. But it was like a mutual agreement to like obviously fight and stuff like that. Yeah, interesting character. I would say he deserves to be above these characters in C. Ren. So let me tell you something. I did her memory door yesterday, and it was somehow even worse than I thought it would be. It was so bad. I also did it on stream, so fingers crossed that my channel does not get shut down because of one specific scene. But yeah, just such a horrible story, and it kind of gives you a great sense of like why she is the way she is. Again, like that's what the memory doors are there for. Obviously, they provide lore about these characters, they flesh out their motivations, their mentalities and stuff like that, and you can kind of see like just the horrible things that she had to go through, and why she feels such a she does feel gratitude towards Ouroboros, and like why she might take offense to some of the things that Estelle said, like, and Estelle obviously she recognizes how everything that she said was very like kind of like some of the things that she said to Ren were very short-sighted, and they were mostly based on like her sort of narrow point of, or her world, right? Because her world is much different from Ren's, Yeah, it's very different from Ren's. Obviously, like her sort of upbringing, like the horrible things that she had to go through. But obviously, Estelle finally, recognizes that, and she's still able to give some, she's still able to extend that, hand to Ren, and it's pretty interesting to see how Ren is so averse to the idea of like she like it's clear to see that she's very averse to the idea of making a connection with Estelle, and it's clarified at the end of the third game that she hates the idea of saying goodbye to people because what if I never see you again and stuff like that. She like that makes her very sad. And I mean she's just a great character, and like the whole like bait and switch, like her like her like the way she's sort of introduced in the second game, like her being with her family, like dude, I never for a moment really thought that okay, I wouldn't say never for a moment, but like I had my suspicions, but like I didn't really think that like those parents, quote unquote, of hers were puppets. Like they're so like accurate, like that must be how it's like presented like to everyone else, right? Because like they just look like normal people, right? So and speaking of parents, in her memory door, it's revealed, I think, that her parents, I don't know what her parents did with her exactly, but I think they abandoned her, and then she sees them like holding a new baby, and then they kind of lament Ren, like what happened to Ren or whatever, but they kind of treat Ren as if she was just like another baby, and they're like, oh well, with this new baby we can still be happy. And it's almost like as if Ren never really existed. They don't really even like they never even really considered the possibility or whatever. And so yeah, I think she has a great character. Also she's just so wickedly strong, like holy crap. Like I remember during like another memory door, they talk about how like the Potter modder, like apparently everyone who tries to like Neuralink tries to Neuralink with the Potter modder, like they either like go insane, go into a coma, they have a heart attack or whatever. But Ren just perfectly is in sync with the Potter modder, so yeah. Mueller. I put Mueller in A. His dynamic was with Olivier is pretty funny. He's like very noble, obviously. Very strong as well. And honestly, the thing for me is honestly just his interactions with Olivier. They make such a great duo. Olivier just spouting nonsense and Mueller being like, do I have to remind you that you're a prince? Please act like one for once. Alright. Scree! Sieg. We'll put him B. At least B, right? Like, I can't really bring myself to put him in, like, B, A, but, like, he's genuinely, like, Sieg's actually pretty cool. Like, I love Sieg. I really love Sieg, but, like, as an actual character, I would say, like, B. Like, you can only be, like, you can only scree your way so high. So, yeah. Oh my goodness. Here we have Princess Joshua. Honestly, I'd say like a C. He's like, this is really just like a character from a play. I mean, I know Hans has the hots for Princess Joshua, but I mean, yeah, it's literally just like a character from the play. Pretty funny, like, character, but like honestly just a character. Klaus, Mayor Klaus, probably C or D, honestly. I'll say C. Like, he's pretty cool. He obviously, like, you can tell like he's a good mayor. Like, he has like a personal connection with like the residents and stuff like that of his area. He's like kind of like a good sort of like good figure for Estelle and Joshua. So yeah, pretty cool, but not like out of this world. Yeah, I put Mayor Mabel in like B. She's like a pretty good character. I would say that she's more involved in the story than Mayor Klaus is, in my opinion, especially during the incident in Bose. I forgot what exactly the first incident was in the first game. I'm actually trying to remember. Was it the? It wasn't the miners, was it? No. No, I must be thinking of something else. But yeah, Mayor Mabel is pretty cool. But I wouldn't put her in like A or anything like that. A, in my opinion, is reserved for like really like either really well fleshed out characters, or like they have like a significant impact on the story and are sort of worthy of being there. Lila, I'd put her in like C as well. She's kind of she's really just Mayor Mabel's assistant. Like she's pretty funny. Like she has some pretty funny quips and stuff like that. But I would put her in like C. Lugron. Yeah, probably C as well. In my opinion, one of the more forgettable sort of branch managers or branch receptionists, I guess you would call them. Speaking of forgettable, I mean, I remember his name. His name's Gene, but I'd say he also deserves to go here. I'll put Jill. Ooh. Nah, I think she'll. Oh wait, no, Killiko. No, Killiko's cool. I'll put her in A. Killiko's pretty cool, but I meant to pick Jill. Okay, whatever. Jill, I'll put in B. She's pretty interesting. The whole sort of Genus Royal Academy stuff where she appears in, she sort of like teases everyone. But in Chloe's store, you realize she sort of like pushes her luck with Chloe, and she sort of reconciles with her. And I thought that was a really nice moment. So yeah, I'd say B is right for her. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, Jean and Lugron, in my opinion, they're not like nothing characters, which is why I'm not putting them in D. But they're also not like super like involved. Like they don't really go beyond being like branch managers, if that makes sense. Like Kilika has like a literal whole story where she is like called upon as like a potential candidate to like lead an organization to improve like the Calvert Republic or whatever. And I forgot exactly what the organization is supposed to be for, but like she's literally like offered a high position, and then like when you fight against her, you can tell that she's very very capable. So yeah. Mr. Murdoch, I'd say he's a B. He's pretty cool. He has some pretty funny moments. Like this guy is just like a ball of stress. Like you can tell, like you can see why he smokes, right? Like he has to deal with like both Professor Russell's, everything that goes on in the city in Zeiss. He's not only the mayor, but he's not only the de facto mayor, but he's also running like this whole like big central factory and stuff like that. And then yeah, I'd say he's honestly pretty funny. He's like he's unexpectedly like a pretty funny character. So yeah, I put him in B. Mayor Dalmore. I'm gonna put him in B because he's a pretty interesting case, because like he sort of introduces us to the idea of like ancient artifacts and stuff like that. Like he had that artifact. He had the gospel. That's what it was. I think he had a gospel, right? I'm pretty sure I did gospel. No. Sorry. The gospel saves Joshua and Estelle from Mayor Dalmore using the artifact that he was going to use. That's what it was. Yeah, now I remember. But like he introduces us to like the ancient artifacts thing, and like also sort of like forces the gospel to sort of like come alive and like introduce and sort of like make place itself in the story of the game. So yeah, so I'd say he's like a B. Gilbert, where do I even put you, man? Oh my gosh, I really don't know where to put this guy. At least B. but it feels wrong to like. It feels both right and wrong to an A, because he's so present throughout the second and third games, especially. Like I thought I thought it was really interesting how they sort of like decide to like pivot towards him being sort of like this comedic relief character. Like he's just so pathetic, both in attitude and like sort of like demeanor, and like it's just like whole, just everything about him is just so pathetic. Like he he he's just such a pathetic character. But I would say he's at least like a B. He's at least a B. Like he used to be like so like noble and stuff like that, but he just turned out to be a real scumbag, just like Mount Almore. Miss Mal, I'd say she's like a C. You know, she's not really like all that. I'd say she's like a C. Gustav, I'd also put like a C as well. Mr. Sid, I'll put Sid in A. Really cool character. He's so strong. Like in the second game, when you fight against him for like the training quest, like oh my god, like I was like holy crap, this guy is just, he's strong. So I mean yeah, Hilda, I would put, I'd say she's, ooh. I'll also put her at C. Philip, I'll put it B. He used to be, I forgot what it was. He used to be the, I found his title, but like, he used to be part of the Royal Army, and he was like pretty high ranking. And like, he actually like managed to hold his own, against 3 enforcers. It was against Lucy, I think it was Lucy, Walter, and was it Blue Blanc? Or was it Ran? Okay, anyways, it was against 3 bracers. No, 3 enforcers. And he's just like, oh man, if only they're 30 years younger. And I'm just thinking to myself, damn. Yeah, I really do want to see what he would have been like 30 years younger, because he held his own against 3 enforcers. So yeah, pretty cool character. I would put him at like, I'd say he deserves to be at least B. Hans, I'll put you next to Jill. Like, they're kind of like just sort of connected to each other, like through Chloe and all that. He's just like part of like that trio of like, you know, just characters. He's pretty funny too. Like I like how he sort of like teases Joshua and all that. So I'll put him at B. Ina, she gets more fleshed out in Scarizard's story, so she's not like a nothing character, but I mean she also has her own quirks and stuff like that. Like apparently she can like, this girl has like a bottomless like just pit when it comes to like beer, to like alcohol. Like apparently she's just is fully unable to get drunk. So I mean there's that. Matron Teresa, I'm actually, she might be an A-tier character. Like her devotion to the children, and like just her humility, and her sort of like she's literally like she's obviously a motherly figure for like the children, right? Yeah, these kids. But she also was just such a great figure for Chloe, and she's had to endure so much. Like she lost her husband, the whole orphanage burning down, and even with all of that, I remember she still was unwilling to take like the money, but like in the end she decides to take it because, you know, it's sort of for the good of the kids. But she was determined to like build the orphanage up from, you know, from the ground up with her own hands. And I really admire her. Like she's actually like, she's such a kind-hearted character. Elnan, I'd say Elnan's like a B too. Like he's one of the more notable. I would say he might actually be an A. He's very capable. No, I'd say B is okay. Like, yeah, I would say B is okay. I think I'll also put Matron Teresa back. I'm trying to. No, I'll keep her A. Elnan, he's pretty cool. Like in the first game, he's so capable and he does so much for the group. Like, I feel like he kind of goes above and beyond the call of just being a receptionist, and he really just does like he does a lot for Estelle and Joshua. But I think I'll put him B. I think B is fair for him. You honestly, yeah, you're better than these kids, but I wouldn't put you at like B. You're also C. Dean Collins, yeah, you're fine. You're whatever. I'd say yeah, I'd say C is about right for you. Annalise, I'll put an A. I'll put Annalise in A. I think she deserves to be there. I thought it was really interesting. I did not expect her to be like a character that like had such a personal connection to Estelle, but she ended up doing that. She ended up developing that sort of connection with her, and she ended up being one of, I guess, Estelle's better friends, I guess. But beyond that, she's pretty funny, I will say. Her obsession with cute things is pretty funny. This girl, she eats one scoop of ice cream every day, apparently, before breakfast or for breakfast. I don't remember which one it was. So she's pretty funny in that regard. But she also has like her moments where she sort of acts like as a big sister for Ren as well. In the third game, especially, her memory door where she sort of has her own sort of struggle with like what she is trying to accomplish as a swordsman, or would it be swordswoman? You let me know down in the comments, or I'll look it up after this. After I'm done recording this video, if it's swordsman or swordswoman. But anyways, what she wants to do with her swordsmanship, right? And like what she's trying to accomplish. And yeah, I think she has a pretty interesting character arc. So I'll just kind of leave it there. Grant, honestly, out of all of the group of bracers, he's kind of the most irrelevant in my opinion. He's not a bad character by any means, but he's kind of just there. Like, I think he's almost on the same, he really is on the same level as like Miss Mao or Dean Collins in my opinion. Not a bad character by any means, but he just kind of looks like, a guy in my opinion. But yeah, no disrespect to him, but he kind of just is a guy. Karna, she has a bit more sustenance to her character in my opinion. And then I would say I would say Kurt's an A. Kurt's pretty cool. He's so wise. He has such like strong mental fortitude. Like this man like really just like lost part of his memory, and then like he kind of just like he just kind of fucked it out, and then but then after he sort of regains his memory, he kind of shows his sort of worth as a bracer, and like how he used to be a guild receptionist and all that in Gransel. I think at this point of the recording, I'm just kind of saying words. I'm just kind of like spitting out like factoids about these characters, but I mean, I guess that's kind of what these videos are all about. But yeah, I'd say Kurt definitely deserves to be at least a B, and I'd say Karna does just enough, really just enough to be a B in my opinion. So yeah. Rufina. Ooh. I think Rufina has to be an A. I think just her whole character, when it's revealed that she quote unquote is the Lord of Phantasma, I thought it was so interesting. But in reality, the Lord of Phantasma is like, you know, Kevin's stigma, just sort of materialized or whatever. I thought that was really interesting. Her sort of willingness, like not everyone would be able to make the decision that she did to protect not only Rias from Kevin, but Kevin from the horror of killing Rias. You know, it's kind of like she did so much for the two for Kevin. And I would say yeah. I think that puts her solidly at A. Campanella's weird. He's not like a bad character. Like that's why I put him in B, because he's like, I would say he's like a good character, right? but at the same time, he's not like he keeps his distance, right? Like he really is just kind of an observer. He never really fights you. He never tries to get in your way. He kind of just enjoys the chaos, and honestly, I kind of respect that a little bit. Like he just does what he does for the love of the game. like he's not really trying to get in anybody's way, and like I just kind of makes me think like, what is this guy really capable of? Like he doesn't even I don't think he really even sees like some of the people he encounters as like threats. He kind of just views them as like almost like objects of like entertainment almost. So yeah, pretty interesting character, and I wonder if he'll be more prevalent in like future games. I kind of hope he is, because he doesn't really get touched on that much. Like I don't really know that much about him. But yeah. Oh my god, what's her name? Oh my god, this is gonna make me look so bad. But I'd say she is. I'll put her at like. This isn't like no order, but I'll signify that she's like top of B just for Estelle's mom, just to like kind of showcase like in the moments that we got with Estelle's mom. Oh my god, what is her name? How can I forget her name? Is it Lena? I think it's Lena. We'll say her name is Lena. Lena, the moments we get with her, you can see like how special of a person she was. Like why Cassius. Well, like why she meant so much to Cassius and Estelle, right? Because like obviously like she's mother and wife respectively, but like she is so nice and so she has such a warm personality. It kind of like you can see that she's like Estelle's mom, right? Like you can see like kind of where she gets it from. But the thing that really killed me was that chapter where you meet Luciola, and like the whole like dream sort of episode where Estelle dreams of being like a kid again with her mom, and like even though it's like just kind of like her figment of imagination, right? So it's just like Estelle's dream. Like how supportive she is of her, and like that's how Estelle saw her mom, right? And it just kind of shows how good of a person she was. And so I think that's a great way to kind of cap off the video with just kind of showing off Estelle's mom, Lena, and her sort of impact on one of the best characters, sort of qualities and stuff like that. But yeah, no, that is my tier list. S plus and E are kind of barren, but everything between I would say is fairly filled out. As you can see, B is kind of like the most prevalent. I would say, like I said, B and above, in my opinion, you're like genuinely like a good character in my opinion. More so for some than others. I could actually probably rearrange this. I would probably say Dalmor is like a C, if anything. Gilbert I would keep here. Murdoch, yeah, sure. Hans, I don't know. I feel like he's a little bit below Jill in terms of like being like having like significant weight in the the story, but he is kind of attached at the hip with her, so we'll let him be there. I'm just going through and seeing if there's any sort of changes I'd like to make. Maybe push someone up to S. No, I'd say this is fair. Everyone is at least like one ranking within like where they should be. Like, I don't think there's like anything egregious here. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And yeah, I know this video may be very out of left field for you if you don't follow my my Twitch channel, which is by the way twitch.tv/mango_consumer. If you're interested in coming by and watching my streams. But yeah, I did stream this whole trilogy on my Twitch channel, and I'm really glad I did, because not only is it a fantastic story that's told throughout the course of 3 games, but you meet like a bunch of characters that, in my opinion, like the majority of which are actually really, really good, and like they have like they sort of play their roles in the the whole story, like, and there's no shortage of characters to like, so yeah, those are my thoughts. Once again, let me know down in the comments what you think of my rankings. What would you change? Are there any characters from this list that are perhaps missing? There probably are, because there may be, because Trails in the Sky, like I said, has a lot of characters. Um, these are really just the characters, I guess, with like portraits. So yeah, once again, thank you so much for watching my video. Uh, and I hope you stay tuned for perhaps future videos. So yeah, I'll see you later.